Hello all, had a request in the comments of one of my previous videos for a review of my Mafell FM1000 milling motor. Struck me as a good idea as there's not a lot out there about these, especially in English. We'll start with the range, then an overview, followed with a little bit of in use and end with an attempt to measure noise and vibration. So as mentioned, I have the FM1000, 1000 meaning 1000 watt motor. There's essentially 5 models in the range, starting with the 800 watt FM800. They all have the same basic form, but as well as the basic FM800 and FM1000, you can also get the FM1000 PV, which has an extra cable connector to allow speed control from a CNC program. You can also get the FM1000 WS and PVWS versions, which have the quick release 8mm milling bit holder with optional PV computer speed control. There is an adapter for the WS with an 8mm shank to a standard collet too. They're popular motors on small CNCs and the likes of the Panto router. So as we look around the machine, on one side we have a nice solidly engaging on-off switch and a red button for the spindle lock. Either side of that are 2 ports for airflow and cooling, and they really do expel some air at full speed. On the top we have the power cord and speed dial. This is also where you'd find the extra port on the PV versions. All the usual blurb on the labels, including the reassuring made in Germany. I do like that they've put the speed dial number to RPM correlation on the motor from 4000 to 25,000 RPM. Useful reference when you have a larger or shaped bits that recommend a lower speed or some such. In terms of collet sizes for the standard models like mine, there seems to be a pretty good range from 3 to 8mm. I have the 8mm and 6.35mm or 1/4 inch collets. One thing I quite like about the collet and nut on these is that they're not too tight when they click in place, so you can just push it out to change over. On my Bosch router, the collet clips into the nut so tight that you need to buy a nut for each collet size, which gets costly. That's probably a minor point, but helpful to me as I swap between the 8mm and 1/4 inch collets regularly. Just a point of note, I fitted these Nutric Powercon connectors myself. They don't come with a tool. I just like to connect my tools this way and find it makes for easy storage. If you buy one of these motors, it will come with a 3 or 4 metre cable and a standard plug for your region. So the clamping collar on these Mafells is 43mm in diameter, same as many old corded drills and motor bodies. I used the bases off an old Bosch POF 500A router for light routing and edge trimming duties. It stands quite tall, so on the fixed trimming base I added the base plate from my big Bosch GMF fixed base, which has a permanent home under my router table now. It handles edge routing an absolute breeze, which I suppose shouldn't be a surprise as 1000 watt is quite powerful for a trim router. I also have the plunge base off the old Bosch 500A too. Not a particularly refined piece of engineering, only really aimed at DIYers back in the day, but if needs must, it's there and fits the Mafell, having the same 43mm collar diameter. This is a 35mm Fraser turbo surfacing bit. It's a large bit for a small miller router of this size, but I've used it on solid woods and even to skim layers off of plywood, and the motor has breezed through it no problem. Even when I had it going continuously all day skimming the plywood tread pieces. So something that struck me when I first started up this milling motor was how quiet and smooth it was compared to other such motors. I'm in no way equipped for testing such things, but in the age of apps, I'm not going to let that stop me from having a go. Here I've got the Bosch INVH app, which allows you to monitor sound and vibration. We'll start with sound. Clicked into action, you can see the ambient readings. I'll lay it on the bench and notch the motor up 1 increment at a time so you can see the changes in levels. Right next to the machine, I'd say that is pretty good. Usually, I'm pretty sure you test sound pressure from about a metre away. I didn't think to do that, but given my readings are next to the machine, Mafell's claimed 71 dB looks pretty feasible. Next, vibration. This part of the app allows you to record the scrolling instances on screen, so I'll rest it atop the motor for a few seconds and see what we get with the motor running at full speed. A little test in position, then hit record. So here's what it picked up. Doesn't mean a whole lot to me, to be honest, but for some viewers it might. I take it it's registered movement changes in the X, Y and Z axis, listing the instances for the recorded duration, which is shown in column A in seconds. To me, the changes in columns B, C and D don't seem to change a lot. Maybe some slight peaks as I scroll through that, if anything, seem to correlate to where I hit record on the phone, then placed it on the machine. Then again at the end where I plonked the phone back on the bench and hit stop. But for the most part, the numbers are what I'd call ballpark consistent or smooth. Still, that's all assuming this app and my phone's ability are any good for amateur vibration readings. If I had to fish around for any negatives, I'd say there are three. Firstly, a cosmetic gripe. The top of the motor body, the black part, kind of looks like an afterthought, and you can see the electronic guts through the cooling slots. Now this isn't a sight tool and made for throwing about, but given the superior build quality of the rest of the tool, this just seems a bit odd. Next are price and availability. The basic FM800 and 1000 can be had for between £215 and £260. This starts to climb to £300 or so for the PV model, £400 plus for the WS, and between £500 and £600 for the PV-WS models. The only UK stockist, Woodworkers Workshop, only supply the FM800 and 1000 to complement their sales of the Panto router. Other than that, it's buy from Germany direct or bend the arm of your local dealer as I did, thank you West Country Machinery, and get them to order for you from Germany. Finding these in the UK might get a little easier, as Ooznest tell me they're setting up to offer Mafell milling motor options for their Workbee CNCs. Let's hope so. And in case anyone mentions they're on Amazon, they are, but via Germany with a wad of postage charges. Overall though, my view of this machine is I couldn't be happier. I hope if any of you have been curious about one of these, at least some part of this video has been helpful. If there's anything you think I've missed or want to know about the machine, fire away in the comments. Stay well and thanks for watching.